Hey there guys, DM073 here, bringing you my exclusive deck kind of spoiler that I was asked to do for the new Faria deck, Faria the Sacred Queen, one of the two new structure decks that we're going to be getting for Grim Cluster coming out shortly. So yeah, this was really cool. I got to do this kind of exclusively video thing, so let's just jump right in. So I'll be going over all the 17 kind of new cards that are being brought out in this new structure deck, starting with, obviously, the Ruler. Faria the Sacred Queen, J-activate of pay 2 light. She's one of the 7 kings, so this is pretty important to keep in mind. You can J-activate for 2 light, pay 2 light to have her gain 200 life, and then she's just got all of her text, and she turns into, Faria, the Ruler of Godsword, 800, still 7 kings, has target attack. When she enters the field, put the top card of your Magic Stone deck into your Magic Stone area, so you don't actually have to skip a turn for dropping mana to play her. Whenever she attacks, you can recover the Regalia you control, and she has the God's Breath, which costs 2 light and 4 anything. Recover all Resonators you control, and you can use this ability once per game. So she kind of has this kind of finishing, kind of recover everything, swing in for a big heavy hit, then bring her back, or all these kind of stuff. She's not terribly powerful in the fact that she's got this 800. So I mean, I think like a Flames of Outerworld could easily finish her off, but it's still a really cool effect. Next up, we have Excalibur, the God Sword. It's going to be the Regalia that's getting used for this deck. Just gives her target attack. She already has that, but Excalibur gives it to her. Tap your J-Ruler can gain 200 until the end of the turn, and if it's Faria, it gets imperishable until the end of the turn, and you can pay 2 less to play the God's Art ability this turn. So obviously designed to be played with Faria, but still really cool card for anyone, especially since it's a 0-drop. You can discard it from your hand to produce a Light Will, and you can banish your card to give your J-Ruler imperishable. So suddenly rulers have a lot more staying power regardless of deck, especially because it's the 0-cost card right there. So really cool card, looking forward to seeing what this is able to do. Jumping into Resonators, we have Percival, Seeker of the Holy Grail, Knight of the Round Table, 1-drop, 200. When it enters your field, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, put a Regalia or Knight of the Round Table card among them into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your main deck in any order, and then you can banish her to prevent all damage that would be dealt to target J-Ruler or Knight of the Round Table until the end of the turn. So this is kind of your tutor for the deck. Lets you look at the top 5 cards, pick what you need for next, and put the rest of them in the bottom of your deck. So a pretty cool tutor ability, and especially for being a 1-drop, that's pretty solid. Then we have Temple Monk, the other 1-drop, Resonator Bishop. When this card enters your field, you gain 400 life. Basic little 200, 400. But having a 1-drop healing Resonator with life gain is pretty something that we don't really have in the game right now. So this is going to be really, really powerful. I think, to be honest, is going to be an important card for light decks to be able to really spur on that life gain. Then we have Young Knight of Gloria, Resonator Knight, just a 1-drop, 300 with target attack. So that's pretty cool. I wish the attack was a little bit higher and the defense was a little bit lower, but I mean, it is what it is. I still think that having a target attacker for a 1-drop is cool in the fact that you can make some early game aggression against kind of smaller creatures like Cheshire Cats and stuff. So that I'm excited to see what that's able to do. Then we have Gwaine, the Knight of the Sun, Resonator Knight of the Round Table, buffs up all your other Knights of the Round Table plus 200, and then whenever this card attacks or blocks, you rest target Resonator. So can control the board really well, can buff up your other creatures, and can tap down your opponent's creatures whenever it attacks or blocks, so you can kind of control the tempo of what your opponent is using. So really cool card for light. Then we have Galahad, the Son of God, 1 light, 1 anything, Knight of the Round Table. Every time it attacks, you gain 500 life, and then when this card is put into a graveyard from your field, rest target Resonator your opponent controls. So when it attacks, you get 500 every single time, and if your opponent decides to block or kill it, they're going to have to deal with the fact that one of their creatures is going to get tapped down. So I mean that's really, really cool. I can't wait to see what these kind of final arts look like for these cards. It's a little bit pixely right now, but the final art I'm sure is going to look really sweet. And then a Herald of Sacred Queen, 2-drop, 300/300. This card enters your field, search your main deck for a card named Herald of Sacred Queen, put it into your hand. Essentially this is like a mini Lore of the Bloodspeaker, but for light, so you can just search for another copy of it and keep replacing it to kind of keep making sure that you have cards to play on your turn. So that's pretty cool. It's going to help deck thin a lot, as well as with our first card that lets us kind of reveal. We have a lot of deck thinning that this deck can do. Blessed Holy Wolf, another 2-drop, 400/600. When it enters your field, not an enter effect, when it enters your field, destroy target edition. It says you may, so that's important to know. So some monster-themed edition hate for light is, I think, pretty cool and kind of needed. Plus, being that 400/600 for a 2-drop is really, 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 really good, I think. Then we have Tristan, the Knight of Sorrow, 3-drop, Knight of the Round Table. As long as you control another Knight of the Round Table, he has swiftness, and when he attacks, all of your other creatures get +100/+0 until the end of the turn. 3-drop 600/600, that as long as you have swiftness on the field, you know, another Resonator on the field, you get swiftness. I think of having the Knight that buffs all your other Knights up, so he can become an 800/800 with swiftness. Really, really cool to kind of put that aggression on for such a low-cost creature. I think that's really awesome. Then we have the Veteran Master, 3-drop, Resonator Knight. Tap it, target Resonator with total cost 2 or less, gains +200/+200 until the end of turn. So you can use him as to attack himself, or he can buff up your other creatures as needed to kind of spur them on to be better and do what you need them to do. Then we have Gwyber, White Dragon, kind of probably the finisher. It's just a 5-drop, flying with 1200/1200, but you can pay 2 colorless less to play this card for each Resonator that entered your field this turn. So if you think about, you know, having tricksy cards that let you like bounce stuff, like Dreams of Juliet or Genie and stuff like that, you can make this guy actually total cost of 1. And so for a flying 1200/1200 for 1 cost is really cool. Plus this guy is technically more powerful than Blazer, and it has only a 5-drop cost, so it can come out at the same turn as Blazer, can fly over Blazer if you need to, and can stop a Blazer. So that's really cool, and is a boss finisher that I think Light kind of needed. Then we go into the kind of spells for the deck. We have Gloria's Castletown. Whenever you gain life, target Resonators get additional buffs. Yes, target stuff on your field gets an additional buff until the end of the turn. And with all the life gain that you have in this, there's a lot of ways to get this to trigger. And it's 1 Resonator you get, so you can kind of pump that extra damage in. So that can be pretty cool. I'm really excited to see kind of how this gets used, especially if you have multiple of them on the field at a time. Then we have the Pride of Knights, 1-drop. Target J/Resonator you control gains +200/+200 to the end of the turn, and you gain 200 life. Simple little buff spell, simple little life gain spell for a 1-drop spell chant instant, and that can trigger things like Gloria's Castletown with it pretty easily. So again, that life gain component we're seeing more and more come out, and Light is really going to get heavily used in this deck. And then we have the Order of the Sacred Queen, the spell chant, 3-drop, just rest target Resonator, and everything on your side of the field gains +400/+400 until the end of the turn. So I think finisher, you know, rest the one thing that you're not going to be able to deal with, pump everybody up really high, and then just swing in and finish the game off. Spell chant, I mean, I think this is kind of like March of Saints, only better, to be honest, in my opinion, just because it buffs everything up for attack and defense, and at the same time gets to rest something face down. So at worst, it's a field buff, and at best, it's tapping something down and finishing the game. And then the last thing we have is this 1-drop spell chant standby, Justice of God's Sword. Trigger is when a Resonator your opponent controls attacks or blocks. This card deals 500 damage to that card, If you control a J ruler, however, this card deals damage equal to that Resonator's attack. So as a 1-drop with the new spell chance standby rules, this is insanely powerful, I think, because you can just use it at instant speed whenever one of your opponent's creatures is going to try and attack. And essentially, Light gets a mini Monster Thunder, if not even stronger if you control your J ruler. So like, giving Light access to that kind of small monster removal at an instant speed, if not big monster removal at instant speed for such a low cost, is really powerful, and I think was something that Light really needed. And I think it's going to let us be able to steer away from playing red in Light decks, because we won't going to need it as much for the removal hate as the Resonator or J ruler removal as we did before. So yeah, guys, that is all for the Faria Structure Deck that we're going to see. Tune in next week. I'm going to actually be also getting the Fire deck, the Moria, I think it's Moria, and I get to do the spoilers for that too. So a huge thanks for giving me this opportunity, to the Force of Will Italy team for letting me have this opportunity to do the spoiler for you guys. I hope you guys like it. Tell me what you thought of the deck. You know, what the ratios are going to be, I have no idea, but what you think of the cards, what decks you might want to see these cards get used in you know, other constructed decks, and yeah, just let me know what you think. So go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, guys, this is DM073 signing off.